and welcome. You're on to another edition of Power Wheel, a production of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. We bring you top reports in the power sector. The headlines. Minister of Power satisfied with progress of work at 215 megawatts Kaduna thermal power plant. TCN MD Mr. Mohammed leads ministers to inspect Kaduna Mando transmission substations in Kaduna. Power sector experts commit to WAP grid synchronization project for member countries. TCN tasks contractors of Jigawa transmission substation project on speedy completion. Stay tuned as we promise this edition will be a delightful one. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. The Honorable Minister of Power, Engineer Saleh Maman, has expressed satisfaction with the level of work at the 215 megawatts Kaduna thermal power plant in Kaduna State, just as he urged the contractor to accelerate its completion.
The minister, who stated this when he and the Minister of State, Mr. Godi J.D. Agba, went on an inspection visit to the plant recently, was briefed by the officials handling the project that it was at 86% completion level.
We are out for inspection and we are going around and everything is going fine at the moment. We just want to encourage the contractors to hasten up and finish the project, and that is our mission of coming out to inspect.
Still briefing newsmen, Engineer Maman said he is still inspecting all ongoing power projects before his evaluation. He, however, assured that the ministry is working towards improving power supply to Nigerians by completing major power projects during the present administration.
We just have to visit all and see, and then add up everything together and see whether we are meeting up. But I want to assure you that this is the next level movement anyway. Our next level movement in this power sector, in this Ministry of Power, is to make sure that all these projects have been completed. We are going around to complete the project and also to commission the project before the end of this term.
He also said aside from increasing generation capacity, the Kaduna Power Station will be providing voltage support to Kaduna, Kano and Jos, which will improve the electricity distributed to the consumers.
By the time these three turbines, this is completed, we're going to power Kaduna, Kano and Jos at the same time, thinking we are going to get uninterrupted.
The Minister of State, Mr. Agba, on his part, said he was impressed with the level of work that has been done at the power plants.
By the time we finish all the inspections, we will aggregate what has been seen. We can at that point give you projection as to completion, but we are committed in this next level to giving power to the masses of Nigeria.
Earlier, the contractor's representative, Engineer Sonny Okwedi, who conducted the dignitaries on the power plant's inspection, mentioned the status of the projects, adding that the power control module PCM was awaiting installation.
Now it's up to 86% complete.
60.
86%.
Are you sure it's up to 86?
Yes. What without there is nothing left here. Just no. That's the total of the plant.
Yes.
But for individual, it's a 27.875 megawatts. So we are having it going into the PCM, power control module. The power generated will now go from the power control module into the switchyard. From there, we feed either Mando or we feed the local network that will have that will now feed Kaduna Metropolis. So that is the way the job is. As of now, we have finished the flushing of this GT and the second GT.
The Managing Director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed, during the inspection visit said the company was working with the ministry to complete the transmission line that will evacuate electricity from the power plants.
All the process have been completed now, and I can assure you, I hope that before the end of this year we should finish the transmission line.
We'll do that.
If you look at the tower foundation, 90% of them have been done. So I think the biggest problem we have now is for the contractor to bring the conductors and restrain them. And I believe that is easier than building the towers. So that's where we are. It's in our interest, it's in the interest of TCN that this substation, this power plant work, because it provides voltage support to this Kaduna and Kano, and which is very critical to the stability of the grid.
Briefing newsman Mr. Mohammed re-echoed the calls for the recapitalization of the distribution companies, DISCOs, so they can have more grounds to match the investment TCN is making in transmission.
In reality, all over the nation, how many injection substations and how many distribution feeders have been built? You will see that there's none. And that is why we are saying that DISCOs have to be capitalized. As we speak with you, I can conveniently tell you that TCN is capitalized because we have completed a $300 million project and we are embarking or implementing $1.661 billion of project.
He revealed the ongoing plan of TCN to build several transmission lines in Kaduna State as part of its transmission rehabilitation and expansion program, TREP, to strengthen bulk power evacuation in the nearest future.
We are building several lines to come to Kaduna. We are reconstructing one of the double single circuit line from Shiroro to Kaduna. We are putting a quad line. We are completing a 330 double circuit line, which is about 98% completed from Jos to Kaduna.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed, recently led the Minister of Power, Engineer Salim Maman, the Minister of State, Mr. Godi Jedi Agba, and other officials of the Federal Ministry of Power to inspect transmission substations in Kaduna.
They are the ongoing Kudenda substation, which will evacuate power from the 215 megawatts Kudenda Thermal Power Station, and the Mando substation, which will inject parts of the generated power into the national grid to improve bulk power supply nationwide. At the Mando transmission substation, Mr. Mohammed, in the company of the Minister of Power, addressed newsmen on the impact of the new Kudenda transmission substation project and the ongoing expansion project at the Mando substation. He said,
the Kudenda substation is a power plant that we have in Kudenda. So we need to evacuate the power plant to the grid. And that's why we are building this line from here to Kudenda. We are building a 330 kV line, but it's going to be energized at 132. The reason is that there is expected expansion of that place. And when it expands, it will need to be evacuated at 330. So instead of us to wait that time, start building 330, it takes a long time to build a line. So we are building a 330. But we are evacuated at 132.
He noted that the project will harness power generation from Kaduna power plants, Gurara hydro power plants, and will upgrade the Mando substation at 132 kV level to supply more bulk power to industrial and domestic consumers in Kaduna.
So this Gurara line that also came to Kudenda, it means that if we synchronize this place to Kudenda, we are synchronizing up to Gurara. So that's what it means.
On the completion level of the various projects for both substations, he said,
this project, in terms of the foundations for that line from here to Kudenda, is about 90% complete. We have few places from here, around here and around Kudenda where we have right-of-way issues. We have devised a strategy to solve that problem.
According to him, TCN has plans to make Kaduna a hub for power transmission by creating redundant power transmission lines that will ensure there is backup for power evacuation.
And we are now putting what we call N-2 in Kaduna. By the time we complete the Kayenji Birnin Kebbi Sokoto Katsina line, Kaduna is going to be N-3 in terms of line. That means if 3 lines goes out of Kaduna, Kaduna will still receive supply. And that's what we are doing. We want to modernize the electricity industry in such a way that we can have a stable grid just like you have in any part of the world.
Commending the ministers on the inspection tour, Mr. Mohammed said they are leaders who are results-oriented.
You can see now 2 honorable ministers, they just came in on board and you see they have started hitting the ground running. Last time we went to Kashimbila, now we are here. Our ministers are ministers that are not office ministers, they are ministers that want to see results. and they are challenging us to work hard, and we're going to work hard to deliver and ensure that we put N-1 across the country. We want to solve all the problem of transmission because we are implementing the transmission rehabilitation and expansion program, which you know is putting N-1 across the country.
Let's take a break for a message. Please stay tuned.
Do not build under transmission power lines for your safety and health. Electricity power lines and substations, either for power transmission or power distribution services, are extremely dangerous when exposed to direct human contact. These power lines and substations transmit electricity that lights up our homes and offices, power our computers, TVs, and refrigerators. On the other hand, the same electricity when exposed is extremely dangerous. It can shock, electrocute, and kill anyone on its way. That is why everyone must adopt safety measures whenever we use or are close to electricity facilities like power lines or substation or transformers. For the safety of the people and animals, governments all over the world have approved way leave or right of way of 50 meters for 330 kV power lines and 30 meters for 132 kV power lines, and for 33 kV lines the way leave is 15 meters. People are not expected to be found within this way leave or right of way for safety reasons. The lines can suddenly cut and fall to the ground with very disastrous consequences such as fire and electrocution of anybody and destruction of anything, be it vehicle, houses or vegetation on its line. It has also been established that power lines and substation emit electromagnetic fields, EMF, which is dangerous to human health. The World Health Organization, WHO, has warned that people who spend long hours under or close high-tension lines stand the risk of being affected by EMF and be vulnerable to cancer, leukemia in children, miscarriages among pregnant women, and other terrible diseases. It is therefore advisable not to build any structure or operate any business under or near any electricity high-tension lines or substations. TCN wants you to stay alive, stay safe, stay healthy, avoid power lines. This message is from the Management of Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN.
Power sector experts in Nigeria and other ECOWAS countries at a recent meeting in Abuja have committed to supporting the grid synchronization project of the West African Power Pool, WAP, where the various power systems of the 14 member countries will be interconnected to enable a seamless regional electricity trading.
At the closing session of the 3-day grid synchronization meeting organized by the West African Power Pool, WAP, the Managing Director, CEO of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, and Chairman, Board of Directors of WAP, Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed, urged the participants to be committed to the success of the project.
Do you all agree that we are going to ensure the project succeeds? Yes. Now, if we agree that the project succeeds, then that means there are certain requirements that we have to do. There are some requirements for data that you are supposed to provide. And there are some also requirements that you will also work with GE to ensure that we did what we are supposed to, we do what we are supposed to do. This is very important because, as you know, in the whole of ECOWAS, WAP is the only institution that is working very well. And we intend to maintain that tempo. We want WAP to continue to be a success story.
He noted that the experts from various power firms across the West African sub-region should look beyond success towards developing innovative strategies for sustaining the success of a synchronized power grid.
If you don't know how to manage your success, you will descend and you'll be worse than the person who is actually not successful. So it means that if we want to continue to maintain this tempo of our success, we have to continue to work hard. And I'm happy to tell you, as the chairman of the executive board, even language is not a barrier in WAP. If you look at the board, we have never had any serious rancor among us. We don't have rancor. And if there's anybody who creates problem, we always come together to solve the problem.
A representative of the Nigerian Ajib Oil Company, Okpai Generation Company in Delta State, Engineer Raphael Onushakbo, commended WAP for hosting the meeting as he assured of his company's support towards the overall success of the project.
The entire sit-out has been very effective and quite articulate, and we would like to thank you And we assure you, in my case, on behalf of my company, that we will support this initiative because it will clearly add value to our systems and the systems of our neighboring countries. Thank you very much.
In a recap about the impacts of the meeting, the head transmission service provider TSP at TCN, Engineer Victor Adewumi, said the member countries of WAP have different voltage levels but are making the efforts to synchronize them.
So the principal objective of this workshop is to make sure we put all those things that will be required to make us, interconnect, to be able for us to be able to get interconnected together seamlessly without any problem, which means the generators must be able to synchronize together. And in the generators synchronizing together, some certain conditions should be met. So we have a consultant that is driving that process, and there is need for the consultant to know what we have at every point. So that in the nutshell, that is the principal aim of this workshop, to see that we can interconnect together seamlessly, so that at the end of the day we'll be on a single grid.
The Senior Engagement Manager, Sub-Saharan Africa, General Electric consulting firm for the WAP Grid Synchronization Network, Engineer Patrick John Sampson, said he was impressed about the level of commitment of participants throughout the meeting.
What I got from this meeting this week is more of commitment. The success of this synchronization project hinges on how committed the TSOs, the transmission system operators, our plant operators, and GE as the consulting company work together. And I got the commitment of each and every one, and we are going to be working together to ensure that the entire sub-region is interconnected. And we ask ourselves, what's the benefit of us getting interconnected? We give the opportunities for excess power in different parts of the region to be shared equally and improve poverty, alleviate any form of poverty that we have in the region.
The quest to accelerate the pace of work at the Gagarawa Transmission Substation in Jigawa State topped the agenda of the Managing Director, CEO of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, Mr. Usman Guru Mohammed, recently when he visited the substation along with his team for a first-hand assessment of the level of work. Powerwheel brings you the details.
Mr. Mohammed inspected a 2x60 MVA capacity transmission substation in company of the head transmission service provider, TSP, Engineer Victor Adewumi, the General Manager Transmission Services, Engineer Idris Alim, and other officials of TCN. The TCN boss, who briefed pressmen at the substation site, said the slow pace of work at the substation had made the company to re-strategize by planning to take over the project from the contractor and have it completed within the shortest time by the TCN in-house engineers. He said a meeting has been scheduled with the contractor to further action.
The government took a decision to do this road for us, the governor of Jigawa said. But you see, if you look at this work now, there are several of them that can be done even without road. If you look at the cabling, if you look at several things, including these panels that are supposed to be put inside the control room, those things are supposed to be done even without road. You can do this. So it shows that this contractor has not been very serious. So I've directed that the contractor should come and meet me in the office.
Addressing a question on the capacity of a substation to serve customers, Mr. Mohammed clarified that transmission substations only supply bulk power to distribution companies, DISCOs, who deliver them to the end users and final consumers.
This is a 2x60 MVA transformer, which means the capacity of this place is almost, I think it's slightly higher than the capacity of Hadeja. So you see what it is. Hadeja, there's an old substation. This substation is going to be higher than the one of Hadeja. So it's a big power supply. It's even bigger than Dutse.
We're bringing you more reports in the Power Flash segment. Please don't go away. You're welcome to the feedback segment. Here are comments on our feedback segment for this edition. On our Facebook page, we have the following comments. The post on the misrepresentation of crucial power grid operational data by the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, published on September 19, 2019, got 13 likes and 1 comment. 12 people shared the post. The comment, which was by engineer Mutali Boladali, a Facebook user, says, "Thanks for the update." The governor of Plateau State, Honorable Simon Bako Lalong, recently paid courtesy visits to the MD CEO of TCN, Mr. Yuji Mohammed, and the management team, where they discussed strategies to improve bulk power supply in the state. The visit, which was at TCN headquarters in Abuja on 17th September, got 84 people liking the post, 19 people sharing it, and 4 others commenting on it. Bitrus Dankpe Samben says, "This is the earnest desire of the Plateau man." The completion of 132-33 kV transmission substation Pangshin. We're praying for the successful execution of this project. Right on, Mr. Governor. Another Facebook user, Ngolong Samson, says, "It's our newest prayers that your visit to TCN headquarters will facilitate the completion of the long-awaited 132-33 kV TCN line in Pangshin." Abdullahi Suleiman simply mentioned Makeri Pangshin line. In what seems to be a plea, Solex Izzy Ayiki says, "Pangshin, TCN, please." On the Twitter page, TCN tweeted the actual data on power allocation to Kano Disco and its actual uptake from TCN, which it published on August 29, 2019. The tweet had 14 comments, 48 likes, and 36 people retweeted it. Engineer Okwe Omenka tweeted this: "The format of data should be consistent. I think the customers need to see this data. Please do same for other discos, and why is this load rejection rampant now?" asked a tweeter identified as Charles. In his tweet, Michael Adeniyi says, "Let TCN publish this on pages of newspapers to expose the inefficiency of KEDCO. All these discos are not viable. Federal government should withdraw their licenses." TCN tweeted about the capacity upgrade of the old Abeokuta 132-33 kV transmission substation from 90 MVA to 150 MVA. It stated that Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company now has more electricity for its customers. This tweet drew reactions from tweeters. There are 3 comments, 14 retweets, and 37 likes. A.T. Adudu tweeted this: "Now, IBEDC doesn't have excuse for not giving out supply with the new upgrade from TCN." Folari Bello tweeted, "I hope they will pick load on the transformer as expected of them." Commending TCN, Goni Abubakar Mohammed tweeted this: "Up TCN. We are delighted to hear from you, our audience. Your comments show that our messages truly got to you. Please keep commenting." We appreciate you for sticking with us on this program. Join us next week on the same station for a refreshing edition of Power Wheel. This episode and the previous ones are available on our YouTube channel. You can also connect with us on these other platforms showing on your screen. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. See you next time.